Here's a brand new 3D-style bedtime story. Written to suit a fully automated cartoon format. Once upon a time on a misty cliff stood a lighthouse named Luma. But Luma wasn't just any lighthouse. She had a secret. She never, ever slept. Not even for 1 second. For hundreds of years she stood tall and proud, watching over the endless sea. She blinked her bright beam into the darkness, guiding sailors home, keeping them safe from the crashing waves below. Now, normally a lighthouse would rest after a long day of guiding ships, dreaming of salty breezes and faraway lands. But not Luma. You see, Luma was special. Her magic lay not just in her towering height or her dazzling light, but in her sweet singing. Oh, yes. Every night as the moon climbed high and the stars twinkled above, Luma would hum a gentle tune. Her song echoed across the water, a melody so enchanting that it calmed the wildest storms and guided little boats safely to shore. But here's the secret, the reason why Luma never slept. She was waiting for someone brave enough to discover her cliff, someone pure of heart to carry her light across the world. Now, you might ask, why did she want someone to take her light? Well, you see, Luma was getting tired. She'd stood on that cliff for so long that her magic was fading. And unless her light shone brightly in the hands of someone new, well, she'd become just another old, broken lighthouse. Her light extinguished forever. Luma dreamed of lanterns dancing, of light streaming through forest deep, of tiny flickering flames that chased away the dark. Oh, how she longed to see her light guiding star beams instead of ships. But who could be worthy? Who would find her hidden cliff and take her light on an adventure beyond the sea? Then one day a small boat sailed past, a tiny speck on the vast ocean. And inside that boat sat our hero, a young fox named Finley. Finley held the worn wheel tightly, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The once bright colors of his fur had dulled, and his ears, usually perky and full of spirit, drooped under the weight of his worry. For many days, Finley had been lost at sea. The clouds were dark and brooding, and the sky rumbled with thunder, shaking the very foundations of Finley's hope. The stars, usually twinkling guides in the darkness, were nowhere to be seen. They hid away, leaving the young fox in a watery world of endless gray. The wind, once a playful companion, now howled like a hungry beast, whipping the waves into towering monsters that crashed against the tiny boat, threatening to swallow him whole. Just when Finley thought his journey would end in the cold embrace of the sea, a sudden burst of brilliant white light cut through the darkness. The raging storm seemed to pause, and for a moment, only the beam of light remained, piercing the gloom like a beacon of hope. With renewed determination, Finley steered his boat towards the light, his heart pounding with anticipation. As the beam enveloped him, a soothing hum filled the air, calming the turbulent waters and guiding Finley's boat safely to the shore. Shivering and exhausted, Finley stumbled out of his boat onto the pebbled beach, his fur plastered to his body, his eyes wide with wonder as he looked up at the towering lighthouse that had saved him, its warm glow enveloping him like a comforting blanket, chasing away the lingering chill of the storm. As the realization dawned on him, he knew he hadn't just stumbled upon an ordinary lighthouse. This was no ordinary place. And from that moment on, Finley knew he wasn't just a lost fox. He was Finley, the lighthouse keeper. His den became a cozy nook within its walls, complete with a soft bed of straw and a constant supply of fresh fish brought in by the friendly seagulls who had befriended him. Each morning, Finley would wake to the sound of Luma's cheerful hum as she turned on her grand light, announcing the start of a beautiful new day. As the days turned into weeks, Finley grew stronger and happier than he'd ever been before. But he couldn't shake off this nagging question. Why had Luma saved him? What made him worthy of her light? He pondered these questions day and night, often gazing up at Luma's light as if it held the answers he sought. Little did he know that Luma was watching him, her old lantern heart glowing with pride. She had chosen Finley not because he was the strongest or the smartest, but because he was kind. Kind to the seagulls who helped him, kind to the fish he ate, and most importantly, kind to himself when he felt lost and afraid. Meanwhile, the magical glow from Luma's heart reached deep into the cliffs, awakening something ancient and powerful, a slumbering giant that had been waiting for a hero to awaken it. But that's a tale for another night. For now, let's return to Finley and Luma's lighthouse. One day, while exploring the vast expanse of the lighthouse, Finley stumbled upon a set of ancient-looking scrolls. They were filled with tales of bravery, kindness, and the magic of light. As he delved deeper into these mystical writings, they revealed an extraordinary truth about Loomis. See, her light wasn't just a guiding beacon for ships. It was a source of immense power, a radiant energy capable of bringing warmth and life to the darkest corners of the world. However, this power could only be unleashed when the light was carried by someone pure of heart and adventurous in spirit. Someone like Finley. With each passing day, Finley's bond with the lighthouse deepened. He spent hours polishing her grand lantern, making sure it shone brightly. But he couldn't help but wonder what lay beyond the sea. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, Finley noticed something peculiar. A faint mist had begun to creep up the lighthouse walls, slowly but surely enveloping it like a shroud. Panic surged through him as he realized this was no ordinary fog. It was a malevolent presence, a sinister force that threatened to extinguish the very light that had saved him. Summoning all his courage, Finley confronted the encroaching darkness. He raced up the winding stairs of the lighthouse, determined to protect its precious light. As the mist crept closer, he poured all his love and gratitude for Luma into the lantern, infusing it with a brilliant, otherworldly glow. In that moment of intense emotion, the ancient magic of Luma's light awoke, filling Finley with extraordinary power. With a newfound determination, Finley faced the shadowy figure head-on. Their forms clashed in a mesmerizing dance of light and shadow, their wills colliding in an epic battle for the fate of the lighthouse. But as the struggle intensified, Finley began to understand the true source of the darkness. It wasn't just a force of evil. It was fear. The fear of losing the only home he'd known. The fear of failing the trust Luma had placed in him. With this realization came a surge of fresh determination. He wouldn't let fear win. He wouldn't let go of the light. In a final burst of effort, Finley banished the shadows from the lighthouse, restoring its brilliant glow to illuminate the night. Exhausted but triumphant, Finley collapsed onto a nearby stone, the gentle hum of Lumia's light lulling him into a peaceful slumber. When he awoke, the first rays of sunlight streamed through the open window, painting the interior in hues of gold. As he stretched and yawned, he noticed something extraordinary. The lighthouse walls were no longer crumbling. They were smooth and strong, as if renewed by the light that shone from within. And then it hit him. The true essence of a lighthouse isn't just its ability to guide ships or ward off darkness. It's the unwavering hope it represents. The promise of safety and warmth that draws people in from the storm. Luma had chosen him, not because he was the strongest or the bravest, but because she saw the good in him, the kindness, the curiosity, and most importantly, the unwavering determination to do what's right. Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the lighthouse. As the door swung open, revealing a troop of weary travelers seeking shelter from the storm, Finley knew what he had to do. With a newfound sense of purpose, he welcomed them in, offering them warmth, comfort, and a glimpse of hope. And as they shared their stories around the crackling fire, Finley realized that he wasn't just a fox who stumbled upon a lighthouse. He was Finley, the lighthouse keeper, carrying the light of Lumia, bringing hope to those who needed it most. For as long as he kept her light shining bright, Lumia's magic would continue to live on through him. And with that realization, Finley embraced his role as the new lighthouse keeper, ready to guide not just ships, but hearts too. Because in the end, isn't that what lighthouses do? They stand tall, unwavering in the face of darkness, offering solace, hope, and a promise of a brighter tomorrow. And so the tale of Finley and Luma's lighthouse echoed across the sea, a beacon of hope and kindness for all who heard it. For in a world that often felt dark and uncertain, their story served as a reminder that even the smallest flicker of light can chase away the deepest shadows.